As you guys can probably tell by the title of this vlog, this is me telling you my experience of my labor and delivery at 37 weeks and 3 days. So yeah, let's get right on into it because it's a long one. So I want to start off explaining why I was induced so early, and the reasoning why is because like I have discussed in past vlogs recently on updates and stuff like that, I was experiencing some high blood pressure the past 2 weeks before having her. They were doing lab work, so blood work, urine, all that kind of stuff, just to see if there was protein in the urine, and if any of my levels were alarming for like liver, kidneys, that kind of stuff, just to kind of help rule out preeclampsia versus gestational hypertension. On August 4th, so last Friday, I was officially diagnosed with mild preeclampsia. I had 2 days in a row where I was at the OB having very high blood pressure. So, and when I say have very high, it was 150 over 90 plus, like just way higher than where it needs to be. 140 over 90 is kind of like the danger zone anyways during pregnancy. But mine went even higher, and then it would like lower, and they finally saw what I was talking about. So it made me feel a lot better. And on top of that, my protein in my urine finally hit the 0.3, which means preeclampsia. So with that being said, was diagnosed with mild preeclampsia. She told me the day before, so last Thursday, which was August 3rd, to have my bags packed just in case she needed to induce me the next day, because she had me come back just to see if my blood pressure was consistently rising or staying high like that. So obviously it did. On the 4th, my blood pressure was 150 over like 92 or 97, something like that. They were all over the place. So they sent me over to the hospital, to the maternity ward, where I was basically admitted. I had all my hospital stuff already in the car and everything, so just headed right on over there. My sister ended up taking my son Cohen, and then just everybody kind of helped with that. Logan has Cohen outside just to kind of give me relaxation because my milk came in today and it has not been very great. So took him outside to go play with the neighbor's kids, and they're playing with water right now. So anyways, was sent over to maternity. They did end up admitting me just because of all the characteristics. My blood pressure was lowered when I was there, which was a really good thing. So I didn't have to go on magnesium sulfate, which I've heard awful things about. So I was also really happy about that. So yeah, let's get into the rest of it as far as like the induction and how that went. So if you're not new here, you guys already know that I was induced a week past due with Cohen. So I've had an induction before already. It was nothing new to me. I kind of knew, as long as, if the cervix wasn't completely softened, then we're going to start with cytotech, then Pitocin, all that kind of stuff. So like I knew the gist as far as what was happening. They ended up checking me. I was not dilated at all, but I was 50% effaced. So we started out with cytotech. We did 3 doses of the cytotech. So that was like every 4 hours or something like that. They would give me another cytotech to take, which started kind of started the contractions anyways, but that was the kind of let's soften the cervix and go from there. So it was a very long labor, just because obviously she was 37 weeks. My body was not ready to give her up. So we did the cytotech, and then I was finally effaced enough to where we started Pitocin. So basically we started my induction at 2 o'clock on August 4th. And I did not have baby G until August 5th at 9:17 at night. So it was a very long induction. I did end up getting the epidural just because they recommended it. They didn't want me to be really tired, especially since I was delivering early and that kind of stuff. So I did get the epidural, which helped a lot up until 6 centimeters dilated when I was 100% effaced. And she said, oh, I'll be back in 2 hours just to check again, see how everything's going. I progressed within, I think, 20 minutes to 10 centimeters and 100% effaced, so it was time to push. I remember telling them, and you guys are gonna laugh, but I remember telling the nurse, because she was asking, what am I feeling right now, because I was sobbing. I wasn't like screaming or anything, I was just crying every time I was contracting. And I just said, my husband is ripping tape off the door. Anyways, I just said that I feel her in my butthole, is how I described it. And she typed away on her computer, and then the next contraction, I kind of like yelled at her and told her that I need to push, I need to push. So they got the midwife in there, who checked me really quick, and I was indeed 10 centimeters. She could see her head. Wanted me to not push her out, but if I felt the urge to push, to just very lightly push, if that makes sense. Didn't make sense to me. I just held her in while I could. I ended up pushing for 8 minutes and she was out. I did tear again, but not as bad as I did with Cohen, so I got a 1st-degree tear with 1 stitch. And yeah, I was very positive during it all. Like I said, as soon as she, I pushed her out in 8 minutes, I was ready to get her out. The first thing I said once baby was on my chest, I looked at the midwife and I said, did I tear? And everybody laughed, and I was like, so a serious question. I tore really bad with Cohen. I just want to know. And so she checked and she goes, yeah, you tore a little bit, but I'm just going to put 1 stitch in. I think the rest is great. So, the next part is kind of traumatizing. So I'm going to give you guys a trigger warning. If you guys have ever had a hemorrhaging after delivery or start bleeding out after delivery and it triggers you, skip a couple minutes, because that's what I'm going to talk about next, is things went a little south. So like I said, I did end up hemorrhaging. My placenta was not wanting to deliver, and it was inside for quite a while. I remember hearing the midwife ask how long it's been since, I delivered baby, and she said 20 minutes, and she was like, okay, can you give me a couple pushes? She was squashing on my stomach, and I was in a lot of pain. So I gave a couple pushes, and it finally ended up coming out. But after that, there was clots and a lot of blood loss. I didn't watch it. My husband and my grandma did, because my grandma ended up being there. But it was very traumatizing. I'm trying not to cry about it, because the whole experience was so positive up until this, so I feel like something had to have gone, something had to go wrong at one point to make it negative, and it was that. This is gonna get really TMI, so if you guys don't like TMI, flash forward, like I said. So once the placenta was delivered, lots of clots and blood was coming out and they couldn't stop what was happening. They asked if I wanted morphine and I said no because I didn't want to do any more meds. Because she was born, I was gonna have to feed her and all that stuff. So I was just like, no. I probably should have said yes. Because what I didn't know is they were going to literally put their arm into me and scoop out the bleeding and the clots to try to find, you know, what was going on. They did a lot of pushing on my stomach and massaging of the uterus. From the notes, they said that my uterus was very mushy, which is not what you want. You want it to kind of go back to hardening after delivery, and it wasn't doing that. It was breaking down is what it was doing. So they ended up starting Pitocin again to try to start contractions to harden my uterus. They did give me a shot in my thigh, and I don't even remember what that was called. They ended up putting 2 Cytotec pills in my butt. My grandma said they put like a really, really long needle into my vagina and then into my IV. They used the rest of whatever was there and put in my IV. And they finally got it to stop. Probably, I really don't know how long it was. It was a long time, I feel like. I had her at 9:17 at night. By the time they were done and cleaned up and everything like that, it was 11. And I did not get to see her for that whole time. Like, I remember after everything was finished and I just felt not violated, but like I just felt like, what the hell just happened? And I was just sobbing and yeah. It was very traumatizing, and that put the cherry on top of us not having any more kids, because we already didn't want more than 2, but that kind of did it in for me about not having any more at all. Their main concern was stopping the bleeding and everything like that, so they had to scrape and get everything out of there, make sure there wasn't any foreign bodies or anything like that, such as clots, placenta, all that kind of stuff left inside. So then they called another OB in just to be a second opinion, make sure everything was out of me, and then they cleaned me up and everything like that. We didn't get into our postpartum room probably until closer to midnight, and I didn't really say much the whole rest of the night. I just was quiet and held the baby and everything like that. So it was definitely not the best experience delivery wise. Labor wise, it was a good experience, but that scarred me. So now on to the good part, where I'm going to talk about the baby and release her name, and then I will walk over. She's sitting in a dock-a-tot on the couch right now taking a nap, so I will walk over there to show you guys her, because she is the cutest thing I've ever seen. So yeah, let's get into the good part. So Gracelyn Jean, Grace is a family name. It's my middle name. It was my great grandma's name, and then I found the name Gracelyn and I just was obsessed with it. So Gracelyn Jean. Jean is after my grandma who was in the delivery room. I'm super close with her, and she's kind of a motherly figure to me, so I named Gracelyn Jean after her. She was born on August 5th at 9:17 at night. She weighed exactly 8 pounds. So if she would have gone full term, I would have had a really big baby, like I had discussed in other vlogs. She was 21 and a quarter inches long, and she was covered in the white Vernex, which is really good for their skin. So we ended up leaving a lot of it in her hair just to help. I'm weird, I liked it. Anyway, So she made her arrival at 9:17 on August 5th. We did not leave the hospital until Monday, August 7th. So we've only been home 2 days. Basically, we went to my mom's yesterday and hung out there just to be outside and everything. So we basically have been home 2 days, and, you know, Cohen's gotten, you know, warming up to her and everything like that. So everything else, you know, we're going great. My milk is coming in as of this morning, so I had a very rough first half of the day. Like, I had the chills, muscle aches, and then my boobs hurt so bad. I was an oversupplier with Cohen, and that's exactly what's happening again, or an overproducer, I should say. I am bottle feeding her. She latches, but not where I like want her to be yet. I think it's just because her mouth is small. So I will probably try again at breastfeeding eventually, but as of right now, I'm pumping breast milk and bottle feeding her. I'm currently using the Xoxo Z2, I think is what it's called, pump. But I want something that's like completely hands-free, so my grandma actually ordered me a Momcozy S12 today, so I should be getting that at some point next week, just so that it makes things a little bit easier. So yeah, we have her very first pediatrician appointment tomorrow morning. So I'm interested to see how much she weighs now. When we left the hospital, she had lost 10 ounces already. So she was 7 pounds, 6 ounces when we left the hospital. And she was a baby that's hard to like wake up. So that has been interesting, but the past 24, almost 40 hours now, she's been doing a lot better with like eating at the 2-hour mark. Finally kind of doing more diapers, because at first she wasn't eating much because she just wanted to sleep. She was a little bit jaundicey while we were at the hospital, but I feel like she's definitely not as much as she was when we came home. She is drinking 1 to 2 ounces of breast milk every 2 hours. She just recently did 2 ounces. She's doing well with that. And yeah, that's pretty much gonna wrap up my labor and delivery vlog. I'm gonna post all the pictures and stuff that I took in the hospital on here, along with some that I took when we got home. But yeah, we can walk over to the dog talk now and see what she's up to, 'cause she's probably just passed out sleeping still. Just snug as a bug. Taking a nap. I just thought about the fact that when I was talking about like my hemorrhaging and everything, I didn't tell you guys how much I lost. Because I kind of became famous on the maternity floor because of how much blood I lost. So I lost 1,000. It's either cc's or mLs. I'm not entirely sure how they measured it. Normal vaginal delivery, you lose maybe 500. Anything above that is not good. So during the hemorrhaging itself, I had lost 800. And then just from sitting there waiting to go to my postpartum room, they kept pressing on my stomach just to get anything else out that, you know, was there. And I lost another 200. So it was a lot. I didn't need a blood transfusion or anything like that. I'm starting to kind of look normal now. I don't know if I have any pictures of what I've been looking like lately. You can probably tell with my eyes that they're swollen. I'm a little bit more pale in the face now. So yeah, just wanted to put that in the update too, because I didn't put it in there and I just thought about it. So I will see y'all in the next vlog. I don't know when that'll be or what it'll be about, but now that I am a stay-at-home mom, it'll be about something. So stay tuned. See you next time. Bye.